5. I am next to Howling Mad Mike. Welcome on in.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah,
I'm doing
you're
all
good?
right.
Okay, good to hear. I have a couple of questions I wanted to ask you. What initially drew you to speedrunning this game? Because VR is not common.
No, I have a lot of love for the Seventh Guest. I played it back in 1990, the original back in '93 when it released on my old Pentium 100. Absolutely loved the game, and I've been a bit of a fanboy for the franchise ever since. Trilobite, the people who made the Seventh Guest, only ended up really pumping out 3 mainstream games.
Wow.
So anyway, getting on to the VR, because I could talk about the history of this
Okay.
all afternoon. The VR remake was released in late 2023, and it is what I would consider one of the most perfect remakes ever made, because whilst still completely honouring the original game in terms of the story and the plot, it fixed all of the mistakes. And this sounds crazy for a VR game, but it fixed all of the mistakes that the original game had. It corrected all of the plot holes. And the other thing I really like about this game is that although it does use VR, which I would say, even as someone who has a VR headset, VR is still a bit of a gimmick when it comes to games.
Yeah, true.
It doesn't try and do anything mind-blowing. It uses what VR can do and does it well. So it's a puzzle game, haunted house puzzle game, but all of the puzzles you can interact with work really well. And so yeah, short version why I got into it, I've just been a massive fanboy of the franchise, and I was willing to spend several £100s on a VR headset just to spend like 30 to play this game.
That's really awesome to hear. But is it like when you are into the VR environment? Is it kind of shady, or do you get a little bit nauseous? I think it's so many things around that are happening at the moment.
I'm not an expert, but I know people who do work within the VR game development, and one of the biggest issues with it typically is smooth twisting and turning, smooth turns.
Yeah.
So most VR games, because it creates motion sickness for anyone watching, because obviously the movement doesn't necessarily track to where your eye is or what your focus may be on, so it can create a lot of motion sickness. But the way that VR games mostly tend to get around this is by having angled movements. Pretty much every turn is locked at a 45-degree angle. You can still, in that position, like pivot on 2 axes.
Okay, yeah.
But you can't. It tends to prefer not to do smooth turns, just to make it more pleasant on the eye.
Yeah, I think so, because I also had like a VR experience when I'm sitting in a cart and driving down a roller coaster, you know that thing?
Yep.
That is pretty manageable, but if you are like walking around, you don't get stand on your feet. Do you sit during the VR experience, or do you also like... Just walk.
I do it either way. You can move around, but typically, unless you have an absolutely empty room, and I have 2 dogs and a child at home, so I'm very much sitting down whenever I
nice
play
and cozy,
VR
right?
games.
Yeah.
You can play them sitting down. It's perfectly adequate. The only slight issue you ever have with anything VR is just having room. Fortunately, VR has got better, and you don't, when it first came out, it was almost as bad as, you remember the Xbox Kinect. You needed basically 4 or 5 square meters to actually have a somewhat enjoyable. But now with VR, I can do it here, and as long as my arm can reach out and not touch anyone, it's absolutely fine.
Oh, that's fine, good, okay. Very nice. So, talking about the game itself, it's a really creepy, ghosty type of game. Are there some glitches you're going to perform, or going to showcase, or something like that?
Glitches isn't actually fair, because the game, not often you get to say this for something reasonably new. The game was actually released in a really solid state. There haven't been many patches. So in terms of glitches or things like that, not much. If you see anything jank happen, it's just because of VR. VR is the short answer. But we had a donation incentive. I think it's been met. I would need confirmation on this. But I
think it's met.
What we will be showcasing is a lot of the Easter eggs and the additional plot, because speedrunning the game, this is a haunted house. I'll run through the plot very quickly here. Old man Stealth, evil toy maker, made toys, became hugely wealthy. One slight problem, all the children who had toys died. Very mysterious. Man becomes a complete recluse, builds this really creepy house. Nobody knows what happened to him. The Seventh Guest basically tells the story of what happened beyond that point. So what happened to all the children who died, what Mr. Stealth has been doing all these years, etc., etc.
Okay. Well, enough thing to watch later on because your run is coming up very soon.
It is.
It is. Is there something that you want to add before we're heading off on the event? How do you like the event so far? You're going to watch some runs later on?
Yes, absolutely. First time at BSG. I know a lot of people here because I regularly attend UKSG, but this is my first time physically at a BSG, and I have to just say it's been absolutely awesome to, not just the event itself, but catching up with people and the event as well, the actual space that we have here. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the
Nieuwegein.
Sorry, when you're from Birmingham in the West Midlands, you can't pronounce words that complicated. But no, it's been an absolute blast. The venue has been amazing, and just to actually come and meet people, I firmly recommend anyone who has never been to a speedrunning event before. You don't have to come and speedrun games. You will find loads to do if you just love the speedrunning community. So if you want to come to an event, be it this. BSG here, NSG, UKSG, you're more than welcome. Just come along. You don't feel compelled to learn how to speedrun a game because we're a community. And the one thing I love, forgive this terminology, I think all of us speedrunners are a little bit weird, so there's no chance that you're going to be any weirder than most of us.
Nope. You're good to go.
So please, if you've always been like a window, because for years I was a window shopper when it came to the speedrunning community. I would always watch events, but I would never go. I honestly strongly recommend if it takes a little courage, but if you can go, you're going to meet some amazing people and make some lifelong friends here. So please do turn up one of these events if you can.
Well, thank you so much for those kind words, Mike.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much for this interview. And I wish you good luck on your run later on this day. We have also some prizes for you.
Ooh.
And first thing is hanging out is the Betrayal on the Hill. Only if you donate for €30, then this could be yours. So yes, let's go donate. And we have another
prizes.
Prizes. Yes, we have an AOC collection with a headset, a keyboard, and what is it? What is that?
It's a gaming mouse, I think.
Yeah, it's a mouse.
It's a gaming mouse, so all these prizes only for if you donate for $50. It could be yours, and also the nice Betrayal. So yeah, all the prizes here only at BSG Plus 2025. Keep donating, and we are going to set up for the next run. And it's going to be Tomb Raider. So yeah, stick around, don't go anywhere, keep donating, and back to you.